Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Brendan with Evoke Bike. So I was talking with a friend yesterday, and he said at the end of this conversation, dude, if there's a podcast that you make, this should be one of them. And I actually wish I had recorded the conversation. We were catching up just on life, and the comment, yeah, things are great. Things with the girl are awesome. Man, it really makes riding that much more difficult. And we kind of talked about before in a much earlier podcast, managing your relationships in your life with your relationship with your bike, and whether you pick up this sport when you've already been married to somebody and now you magically want to spend 15 hours a week doing it, or 12 or whatever. It's a huge commitment. And the more you get into it, the more excited we get about it and we want to spend more time, but we also don't want to stiff arm the people in our life. So there are some really basic things. I mean, I talk to athletes a lot about this, and they joke that I become a life counselor, but it's part of trying to make the training calendar, the events, your rides with your buddies, like that all has to work with your life. And there are a lot of different scenarios. Like if your wife or your husband is a runner, they get it. But this guy, his girlfriend, is a snuggler. So some of the time that she wants, how she shows affection is hanging out, which is cool. That's not necessarily what I want to do and how I show affection to Chris. But I 100% understand like wanting to chill out if someone has, especially a super demanding job. There's a lot of different scenarios. So in this one, the only point I want to get across is planning and communication. The biggest thing that you want to avoid when having a partner in life and you're trying to ride is they see you kidding up and they're like, oh, are you going for a ride now? Or, oh, you're riding 4 hours today? Like, dude, they have to know that. Like if you were going to work 5 hours, they'd probably know that, right? They might know your schedule. You might have told them that. So I just want to share my tips and how I work with this. I mean, no doubt in my viewpoint, having someone in your life is so much better than being single. You learn so much about relationships, about yourself, how to treat others, how to be a better person. But I look back on my single days when I was single for probably the first 4 or 5 years of getting into cycling. You could do whatever you want. And my buddy said, before it was like I had to work, I had to do errands, and then it was just like ride a bike and recover. And now I have to there's this whole other being that I have to not take care of, but take care of that relationship and put energy into it. And you want to be there. And that's another hard thing. Like you're split a little bit. The thing that I like to avoid is I don't want to leave being like, oh, I really want to go do this ride, but I totally feel like I'm ditching Chris right now. That's easily avoidable. Usually on Wednesday or Thursday, I say, hey man, what's your weekend looking like? Now I'm lucky. And one reason why we got married is we both don't need each other there all the time. We both have our own things going on. That's cool. I also told him before we got married, when we first met, I said, hey, just so you know, I ride a bike a lot. And he's like, okay. And I said, cool. Now, whatever you think a lot is, multiply that by like 6. Literally. It's a lifestyle. You may not have had that ability. You may have found cycling later in life. So communication, Thursday. Hey, what's the weekend looking like? You're not telling them that you're going to go ride. You're not springing a 5-hour ride on them. You're allowing them to open the conversation and tell you what the group is doing, the group being you and your partner. Well, hey, there is this I want to do. There is this I want to do, and da-da-da-da. You're seeing how they're framing the week. And then they'll probably say back to you, hey, what are you doing? Hey, are you thinking about riding? They might ask you. Now they bring it up. And it's like, oh, well, I have this event in a month. I really want to try and get a long ride in. Do you think Saturday would work? Or maybe Sunday would be the better day? Or da-da-da. When you talk about it on Wednesday or Thursday, when Saturday comes, there's no surprise. Like everybody knows what's going on. You might not be a planner. I am. But with where my life is at now, I've had to become more nimble in that I've been in Tennessee. I've been in North Carolina. Chris has been here. We're coming back here. Now races are starting. Now I'm going here. And it's just like, it's kind of hectic. You got to be nimble. So have these conversations often. And, it's doing the little things. When you're going away with your friends and you are leaving, and especially if you have kids, You might be leaving your partner behind for 24, 48, 72 hours. When you leave, wouldn't it be awesome to give them some flowers? Buy them their favorite little whatever, a little physical something that when you're gone, they see it and they're like, oh man, that person, how thoughtful was that? You took 10 to 15 minutes to go out of your way to give them that, because they're going out of their way to watch the kids or be alone or do, they have to make plans now because you're going to go do your bike thing if they don't want to come. Maybe you guys, even better, if they want to come, that's good and it's bad. I mean, when Chris comes, I love it. But now I also have to be like, okay, this can't just be about sitting in a hotel room looking at power files. I need to think of some other stuff so he doesn't hate this, because guess what? This is his weekend also. So it's communication and it's planning. It's literally not making the biking thing the first thing, even though it's super important. Like, just talk about it. And the other thing is reframe sometimes. Shout out to Ryan. He said, when I go and ride, my wife still thinks that I'm just like riding around the block. They don't know what I think they would die if they saw us doing VO2 max intervals. Like, oh, you're going that insane. I thought you were just like cruising with your buds. Reframe it sometimes. Hey, I have this big training session on Saturday. It's super important for my race in 8 weeks. And even explain things to them like, Chris knows that what I do today matters 8 weeks down the road. So, there are times when I'll even say, hey, this week is super busy with riding. I would love to put priority time on it, but I really want to be cognizant of us doing our thing. What are you thinking about for this week? What nights are you busy? Da-da-da. Make the time. Schedule it. If you are just like firing off left and right, it becomes so much harder to really show that person that you care, to really show them that they're number one. Because when time is slim and you're just grabbing the bike, it's like, this dude's just going to ride. It's like, no, I have goals. Like, this is really important to me. I really want to do this. And this is why. The more you can help them understand that without ramming it down their throat, the better off you're going to be. We can, this could become its own playlist of like relationship tips. I think it's funny. Some of my friends were like, before I came out, I was dating people and just wasn't open about it. That made it even crazy hard because your friends and your family life couldn't overlap with a relationship life. So I was actually doing another layer of like work, ride, friends, family, relationship. I'm like really glad that's over. But some of my friends would joke like, you have no idea what this is like. And I'm like, you just don't know. Joke's on you, suckers. But yeah, just talk, communicate, let them know how important this is. Let them know how important they are to you. The end.